Have you ever wondered what separates a team that just gets by from one that absolutely crushes it? What's that secret sauce that turns a struggling company into a titan of industry? Well, the answer, time and time again, comes down to one single thing: leadership. Today, we are going to decode the very essence of it. We're going to journey through decades of research to get to the bottom of one core question: what truly makes a great leader? All right, so to kick things off, we've got to tackle a fundamental tension that I'm sure you've all felt in the workplace: the massive difference between being a manager and being a leader. It's so easy to use these words interchangeably, right? But the truth is, they represent two profoundly different ways of seeing the world. And getting this distinction isn't just about getting the words right. It is the absolute first key to unlocking the entire leadership code. And when you lay it out side by side like this, the difference is just, wow, it's stark. A manager has subordinates. Why? Because the org chart says so. A leader has followers. Why? Because people choose to follow them out of trust and inspiration. It's the difference between someone who tells you what to do versus someone who shows you how it can be done. And look at the mindset here. A manager is all about efficiency, doing things right, and reacting to change as it comes. But a leader? A leader is focused on effectiveness, doing the right thing. And they don't just react to change, they create it. One controls people for the short term, the other builds them up for the long term. So this huge distinction between inspiring people and just managing tasks, it led early researchers to ask a really good question. Are some people just born with it? Is leadership some kind of innate quality, something you either have or you don't? This question really kicked off the very first formal attempt to create a blueprint for the perfect leader. And that first answer was something called trait theory. The idea here is really simple. Almost too simple. Great leaders are born, not made. The theory basically suggested that there was a specific set of personal attributes, almost like you won some kind of genetic lottery, that destined you for greatness. For researchers, this turned into a massive treasure hunt to find the exact checklist of universal traits that separated the leaders from, well, everyone else. So what was on this supposed treasure map? Well, you had the things you'd probably expect, right? Unshakable self-confidence, high intelligence, being assertive and courageous. But then the list starts to get a little interesting. It also included things like physical attractiveness and even having a good vocabulary. The thinking was these were the magic ingredients. These were the things that proved leadership was this exclusive club you had to be born into, not one you could ever earn your way into. But here's where the whole idea starts to crumble. I mean, think about it. We all know people who are smart, confident, maybe even charming, but are just terrible leaders, right? And on the flip side, history is packed with world-changing leaders who didn't fit this neat little checklist at all. This huge, glaring problem raised a question that completely shook the foundations of trait theory and forced everyone back to the drawing board. So this led to the next big leap in our understanding. And it was a pretty revolutionary idea. What if leadership isn't about the qualities you're born with, but about the choices you make and the actions you consciously take? What if it's not about who you are, but what you do? This is behavioral theory, and it was a total game changer. It basically democratized leadership. It said leadership isn't some exclusive birthright. It's a skill that can be learned, practiced, and developed over time. This theory argues that literally anyone, no matter what traits they were born with, could become a great leader by learning and adopting the right set of behaviors. Suddenly, leadership wasn't a private club anymore. It was a craft that anyone could master. And here's a perfect example of how a leader's core belief system drives their behavior. A Theory X leader basically believes people are lazy and need to be constantly watched and controlled. Think micromanagement. But a Theory Y leader believes the opposite, that people are naturally motivated, they want to do good work, and they'll shine if you just give them the trust and responsibility to do it. Your fundamental assumption about people, X or Y, ends up dictating everything you do as a leader, and it absolutely shapes the kind of culture you build. But, okay, even focusing on behavior wasn't the complete picture. Because a set of actions that works brilliantly with a team of senior experts is going to fail, and fail hard, with a group of brand new trainees. And this realization led to what is maybe the most powerful insight of all. When it comes to leadership, context is everything. The right move in the wrong situation is still the wrong move. So here's the real breakthrough. There is no single best way to lead. The truly great leaders aren't born with the right traits or even made with one universal set of behaviors. No, they are adaptive. They're like skilled detectives who can accurately read the room, diagnose the situation, the team, the task, the pressure, and then change their style to perfectly match what that moment needs. And this brings us to a really foundational theory called Fiedler's contingency model. It gives us a practical way to actually do this, to match our style to the situation. It starts by saying that each of us has a natural, fixed leadership style. We're either more task-oriented or more relationship-oriented. The model then says your effectiveness depends on how well your style fits the situational favorability, which is just a fancy way of saying how much control you have. And that control comes down to three things. Do your people like and trust you? Is the work super clear or kind of vague? And how much actual power do you have to give rewards or punishments? Okay, let's make this real. Imagine a team leader in an IT company. Her team loves her, so leader-member relations are great. And the project they're on is super well-defined, so task structure is high. But she has weak position power. She can't give out bonuses or promotions. Now, Fiedler's model looks at this and says, because trust and clarity are high, this is actually a favorable situation for a leader. And here's the twist. The model says the best approach here is to be task-oriented. Why? Because she doesn't need to waste energy on relationship building. The team already trusts her. She can pour all her focus into execution, into just getting the job done. It's not about being one thing all the time. It's about being the right thing at the right time. So when you look back at this whole journey we've been on, from born traits to learned behaviors to situational adaptability, it all points to one profound truth. Real leadership isn't some static blueprint or a fancy title. It is a dynamic, living, breathing skill that is focused on one thing, empowering other people to be their absolute best. The ultimate goal isn't just to have followers, it's to build more leaders. So the real question to leave you with isn't just what makes a great leader. It's how can I become the leader that my team and my situation need me to be right now?